So, you want to play mid lane like Faker? Well, you've come to the right video. I'm Coach Eagz, a multi-season challenger player now coach, and in this episode you will learn how to win mid lane in 3 minutes, just like Faker. I'm going to be giving you 5 quick-fire tips that Faker applies in the 2 games we'll be watching. These include abusing range, ability usage, mana management, saving your defense, and auto attacks matter. To become a challenger mid laner, you have to know how to play the early game against every type of champion. In Season 11, assassins are as popular as ever, and you can't ban all of them. So we'll be watching the God of Gods destroy an Echo and Akali. Strap yourself in for the next 10 minutes, guys. You are going to learn how to beat those 0 counterplay champions once and for all. Let's quickly smash out one of the 5 tips. Tip number 1. Abusing range. Never ever play close to the enemy assassin. Exploit your range advantage and never give the opponent a way in. Faker has a range advantage in both of these games. What does this mean and why is it important? Well, Faker's auto attack and spell range is a lot greater than Akali's and Echo's. So unless both of these AP assassins gap close and get onto Faker, the lane can become very oppressive early on. This is most apparent in the first 2 levels. Generally, assassins have no kill threat until level 3 when they have all of their basic abilities. Until that point, they don't have the mobility and damage to trouble you, and you should always see the early lane as an opportunity for you to take advantage of this inherent weakness. In this game, Akali has her Q and Shroud. Her E is her gap closer before level 6, so Faker knows there is no chance of her getting into melee range unless he decides to start win trading. Take a look at Akali's HP bar too. The underlying reason why Faker has chunked her is because of how he is playing, range versus melee. He's making it very hard for Akali to move anywhere near him or the CS without taking damage. Look at the start of this lane, Syndra versus Echo. How many of you would be standing behind your range minions letting Echo get his foot in the lane? This is also known as Narnia, by the way. It's that far away. Look at where Faker is standing. He wants to make sure that Echo doesn't get his foot anywhere near the CS or himself, so he stamps on it. If he was to back up and not make use of his extra range, then he might as well be playing a melee champion. Level 1 and level 2 assassins are the weakest champions in the game, so why treat them differently? Abuse your range and look to punish them early. We'll get into how you can go about doing that in just a second. Let's list some popular assassins. So we have Echo and Akali from these 2 games, we've got Zed, Fizz, Talon. When would you say these champions have the best chance of killing you? At level 6, right? So their ultimate is their major source of damage, and for them to make full use of this power spike, they have to be able to jump onto you. So your goal is to keep them at a distance. Playing towards your identity and your range is the first step in conquering mid lane assassins. Most low elo players walk way too close to the danger or are so scared they don't do anything at all, and the weak early game assassin gets a free ride to level 6. Before we get into how to go about punishing assassins in the early game, friendly reminder guys to let us know you're enjoying the video by leaving a like, and remember to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our red hot uploads. Finally, in the description and comments down below is a link to our amazing website GameLeap.com. If you're hard stuck, if you want to improve, if you want to become a pro player or the best player you can be, whatever elo and aspirations you have, our website is all you need. Hundreds of challenger level courses, guides and videos designed to help you achieve your goals on Summoner's Rift. Join our thousands of members today and get signed up. Alright, so where were we? That's right, how to dumpster assassins. So tip number 2, never waste abilities. From this video onwards, if I see any of you using your abilities on the wave, I will embrace my inner Liam Neeson and hunt you down. Pause it. How many of you would have queued these 2 minions as Syndra here? Unless it's the only way to attain that 28 gold, last it with your auto attacks and save your abilities to damage the enemy champion. It means so much more. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, and it is easily punished by assassins who have gap closers and lots of burst damage. So the solution? Focus your abilities on the enemy champion. In 20 minutes of laning, Faker never uses his Q on a minion unless Echo or Akali are out of lane and he needs to shove in the wave. When they are in lane, his attention is on using his Dark Sphere to harass the melee champion. Your priority is your opponent's health bar, and that's what your abilities are best at. They will always have larger range than your auto attacks, so it is safer and easier to chip away at that green rectangle with your QWER. So we know why it's important, but when is it best to use these abilities? Your best chance at hitting the assassin is when they try to last hit. Unless they use an ability of their own to secure the CS, their champion will have to pause for their auto attack animation to go through, and this is your window of opportunity to dish out your damage. It's important not to throw out your ability whenever they walk up because they will be expecting you to try hit them. Try to time it as soon as their champion pauses to auto attack, that's your green light. This is one of the essential building blocks to becoming a great mid laner, and is even more important against assassins. You have to punish their limited range early on. This leads me on to tip number 3, mana management. In the early game, never spam your abilities as if you're level 18 with blue buff. As a mage, caster, even an energy-based champion, staying healthy in the blue and yellow departments is just as important as staying healthy in terms of HP. As a general rule of thumb, always maintain at least a quarter of your mana bar. On any mana-dependent champion, this will be enough to use at least 2 of your abilities if you need to. Falling below that point is a cardinal sin. Burning yourself out of mana in the first few levels turns you into an auto-attack champion, and in turn, you starve yourself of damage and wave clear. Let's pause it now. FAKER is now auto-attack Syndra, right? His pressure in the lane as a result goes out the window for the next 30 seconds. The reason he went was for sure valid. If he lands the Q and E onto Echo, he dies because Nidalee's there, but the price he pays for missing it is now he has 0 abilities against Echo's 3. The reason he is able to stay, however, is because he has biscuit delivery in his runes, and when you pop a biscuit, you instantly regain 50 mana. At the top level, players like to bait their opponents into thinking they have a window to go in, but pop a biscuit so they can use another ability straight away to shut them down, and that's exactly FAKER's plan here. Notice how the Echo also recognizes this, otherwise he would have engaged on the Syndra already. FAKER consumes his biscuit and now has enough mana to cast 2 abilities and kill Echo if they land. He misses, but this is a great tactic to use in your games. Echo, for whatever reason, decides to turn on pre-season mode and give FAKER a free kill, but the reason he's created such an opportunity is because he has abused his range, focused his abilities on Echo and not the minions, and managed his mana. Think of your mana as a finite resource. Let's look at Syndra for example. Her base attack damage is 54 at level 1, and her Q damage is at least 70 at level 1. As a mage, your abilities scale harder and faster than your attack damage, and as a result become way more important the longer into a game. So as the lane progresses, your abilities mean more and more and more. They don't mean anything if you don't have the mana to use them. When you are depriving yourself of mana, any good mid laner will recognize your troubles and punish you for it. It gives that assassin a lot more kill threat and pressure in the lane. If you get ganked, you might not have the resources to protect yourself and you die because you are not taking into account that spamming your abilities come at a cost. This is most pertinent in the early game because you don't have mana or mana regen from items and blue buff. One of the reasons you're always out of mana is because you're not applying our next tip. Number 4. Saving your defense. Every champion in the game has an ability that can keep them safe. Only use this ability on the offensive when you know there's no chance of that champion retaliating and when you know it's just a 1v1. FAKER skills his E here. This is his key ability because it pushes enemy away and stuns them. It's his only form of defense but also a powerful form of offense. In this situation, is there any chance Akali can engage onto FAKER if he uses his E? No, she's still level 2. Is there any chance of the enemy jungler ganking mid if FAKER wastes his E? No, because Poppy just killed a teammate bot lane, so both boxes are ticked, there's no counterplay, and it's a 1v1. So FAKER has the green light to use his key ability. If you miss this ability and it's on cooldown, back off and respect your own weakness. When your defense is down, you're a different champion. You're not at full strength, so you have to play accordingly and maintain greater space between you and your opponent. As Syndra, your E is your peel. It's the ability you need to deflect incoming enemies and keep them at arm's length. What does it mean when you don't have this ability? You are vulnerable and accessible, especially for mid lane assassins. It's not only important for your one-on-one, if the enemy jungler is nearby, let's say, and takes note of you using your E, they all of a sudden have a much better chance of executing a gank and taking you down. This next tip is the big difference maker and is the main reason Challenger is Challenger and Silver is Silver. Number 5. Auto attacks matter. Whenever you have a chance to auto attack the assassin, you do it. Let me pause it. I want you to count how many times FAKER auto attacks Akali until I pause it again. This is point and click damage, it's guaranteed. It may not be as impactful as landing an ability, but in the early game, most of your damage against assassins and melees should come from auto attacks. How many was that? I counted 3, and they were dished out in the space of about 5 seconds. Look at Akali's health. Why is she already this low? Because Faker knows how important auto attacks are in the early game and that they are one of his major advantages against weak early game assassins. If you were to watch any of your games back when you were up against an assassin, how many times did you auto attack them? From the hundreds of hours of coaching I've done, students sometimes don't even make it to 3 autos in the whole laning phase. And that's because they haven't been told how important this concept is. It's one of the major differences between the best and the rest. Think of a champion that uses Electrocute. How on earth do they proc its damage level 1? By auto attacking. Great LeBlancs don't just W into the enemy champion and that's it. They auto before they're engaged and quickly after. I said earlier that auto attacks mean less than your abilities, but this doesn't mean they aren't worth anything. They are, and their value in the early laning stages is huge. Look at this. Echo's HP goes from this to this. Again, I want you to count the auto attacks. How many of you would play like this in your games? More importantly, how many of you would auto attack an Echo 3 times in 5 seconds level 1 like Faker does here? Okay, so he stalls one of them to not get hit by the Echo Q, but still, look at the advantage this creates. It's an imperative part of laning, guys, so start auto-attacking in your games, success will follow. If you are serious about maximizing your potential and improving as a mid laner, these 5 tips are as important as any in getting to the promised land, so start applying them in your games, Game Leapers. And please drop a like before leaving. Also remember, 50% off GameLeap.com memberships. Get your cursors moving and fingers clicking and get signed up before our Black Friday sale ends. If you love League of Legends and want to improve like no other, then it is a no-brainer. The best instructive content going around to help you reach the summit. So join now. Link in the description. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This has been Coach Eagz, and until next time.